JJ Redick has a big challenge in front of him. Is he a more prepared coach in his second year than his first? That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for joining Locked On Lakers. Brian Kamenetzky with Andy Kamenetzky. Big game coming up Thursday night in San Francisco. The Lakers trying to figure out a way to win some games and hold on to that number 4 seed and open up game 1 at home, Andy. Capture that Crypto.com energy, win game 1, shock the world, demoralize Houston. They win game 2, and suddenly, Andy, the Lakers are in the catbird seat. It's just that easy. But to maximize everything the Lakers want to do, obviously JJ Redick plays a big part of this. One of the things that I think is kind of overlooked with the injuries to Luka and to Austin, I know everybody wanted to see and get like the data points of those two playing together because this looks like the combination the Lakers are going to go forward with. Failing that, I think everybody wanted to see at least Austin by himself, like go look like a $35 to $40 million player. Okay, we're not going to see
maybe
that.
Maybe more.
That's
a possibility. I mean, if Austin gets a max, the full max that is possible for him is about 48 mil per season. I'm not saying that is what he's going to get. I'm saying that's the possibility for him to get.
Yeah, I think that's probably high for what like the market's going to give him, but it's certainly in that 35 to $40 million range. I think is the expectation. Like go play, be a $40 million guy in the playoffs when everybody is counting on you, and so on. The last thing that I really wanted to see was how much better is JJ Redick as a postseason coach now than he was last year. And you may have been around when he played 5 guys for the entire second half and trotted out Maxi Kleber, in game 5 and all these other things. Like some goofy stuff was happening
in crunch time.
Yeah,
game 5.
Because that's what you do. There were some strange things, controversial things, and I know I wanted to see the difference between year 1 and year 2, and to some degree, at least, to I think a large degree, that's kind of undercut by what we've seen happen from an injury front.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're not going to be getting the full look at how JJ would approach everything in the playoffs because he doesn't have a full complement of players. Maybe depending on how long they can stretch out a first-round series and how quickly Luka's hamstring reacts and how positively to the treatment he's getting in Spain, he can come back, join the series in the first round, and the Lakers pull some type of perceived upset. But for the time being, and I think this is interesting, I think in some ways we could be seeing the clues of how JJ is just going to problem solve, period, in the last 2, maybe even 3 games of the season. I say maybe 3 just because depending on the last game of the season, Utah, all of that, there may not be much to glean from anything. But at the top, you said the Lakers looking to get that 4 seed, maintain it. JJ Redick said actually that is lower on their list of priorities right now. Like, obviously, they want to get it if they can because it beats the alternative, a 5 seed. That is no longer the top priority for them right now. The top priority is identifying the 9-man rotation for the playoffs, which will begin without Luka and Austin, where you're going to have to reconfigure the way, for example, the offense had been working because the offense, the usage hierarchy that we talked about began with Luka, then Austin, then LeBron. LeBron is now clearly the top guy in that hierarchy. How that looks from there, what JJ decides is the best version of what will ultimately, I can't imagine not being a more simplified offense because you have fewer, lesser players to run the thing and can't reasonably put all of it on a 41-year-old. How I think that in and of itself is going to be interesting. I think how they use LeBron over these next couple games is going to be interesting as well, because there's the push-pull between trying not to tax LeBron as much as possible heading into the playoffs, but also you need a lot of reps in these games with LeBron if you want to try to put yourself in the best position possible to make the most out of what you have.
Yeah, I mean, I took those comments about the seeding to mean health matters more. You're not pushing guys. You're not going to push LeBron to play. Certainly not that Tuesday game against Oklahoma City. But you're not going to, second night of a back-to-back. Are you going to push LeBron to play in the Phoenix game? Are you going to rush Marcus Smart back? No. Are you going to rush Jackson Hayes back? No, because if those guys can't play, it doesn't matter what seed you are. Now you're just down too many guys. So yeah, health has to outweigh seeding, but seeding comes in a pretty close second. In terms of maximizing.
I would actually argue that reps and problem solving to some degree, working out things to some degree. I think at this point, seeding is probably third in terms of the
good news. The good news is, though, if guys can play and you're going to get the reps to, because there's not a lot of time here for experimentation. You're not going to try 8 different rotations and 10 different roster, lineup combinations and all that kind of stuff. You're going to pick the 8 guys, 7 main guys, and 2 guys that kind of fill in here and there, maybe play 7 minutes a game, 10 minutes a game, whatever you think your playoff rotation is going to look like. That's what these next 3 games are going to be if those guys are available. So you're going to get your reps. Hopefully the reps turn into wins, and you can open up at home in the first round. The question becomes sort of what, if you really can learn anything about JJ from this series, just because the expectations for the Lakers have gone down from, at the very least, you're supposed to get out of the first round and give either San Antonio or Oklahoma City a decent run in the second, or maybe you get a little further. That was sort of the evolving expectation. Obviously, that's much different. We'll talk about it next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by Wayfair and Wayday. It's here. And if you've been thinking about upgrading your space, this is the time to do it. We're talking about some of the best deals of the year on furniture, decor, outdoor essentials, everything you need to refresh your home. And during Wayday, Wayfair is offering up to 80% off, not a typo, with fast, free shipping on everything, making it easy to find the pieces that fit your style and your budget. You can filter choices, looking on the website by price, by style, all sorts of different categories. So there's no wasted time spent scrolling. The reviews and the photos help you feel confident in what you're getting. Wayfair verified products are vetted by specialists, so quality guaranteed. Whether it's upgrading a room, adding outdoor pieces, or just finding something that ties the space together, it makes the whole process simple from start to finish. Wayday is the sale to shop the best deals in home. We're talking up to, again, 80% off with fast, free shipping on everything. Head to wayfair.com April 25th through the 27th to shop Wayday. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
Locked on Lakers, also brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been so simple. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast. Without all the hassle, it puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. So in our house, we like to use it for MLS tickets. That's where I have the Game Time app. It's what I use it most frequently for. Love the all-in price up front, so there's no surprises when I get to checkout. Think I've got this awesome deal, and it turns out it's 25% more expensive. I do not like that. I do not want to see that, and I don't with Game Time. I also like to be able to see what the seat's going to look like, what the view of the field is going to be, no matter where I am in the stadium, no matter where I am in the arena. Kids really like that too, if you're taking the whole family to the game. So that's something to look forward to, and I like being able to click in at the last minute and get really good deals to get into the building late, right as the game's beginning and all that kind of stuff with cheap seats. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets or anything you're looking for with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today, and remember, it's gametime.co, not .com.
And finally, Locked On Lakers is brought to you by Indeed. You got workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, the inbox is overflowing, and one position you got to fill. It's still open. When the pressure's on, you need the right hire. This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs help you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for, the right skills, the right experience, the right location. So you're not just hoping some magical candidate stumbles across your post. Here's a stat that says it all. The minute I'm going to be talking with you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. It's less stress, it's less time, it's more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. That part's extremely important. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Obviously, the Game 3 stuff and the Game 5 stuff, like, people wanted to see the growth of JJ. I think there still is a chance to see that in the sort of as we approach the postseason. It's obviously going to look much different. Like, it's more about how, it's honestly, it's more related to the type of stuff that we saw on Tuesday. Like, how does JJ problem solve here? What does he flip to? What does he kind of default to? I think obviously it was pretty controversial what we saw on Tuesday. I don't mind the approach in terms of how you're trying to elevate this group in a very short time. I do think the question, for me at least, the question becomes, can he do this without getting too tightly wound? It's not the discipline. It's not the accountability. It's not all that kind of stuff. I don't care if he argues with Jared Vanderbilt. We've talked about this extensively, but I do care if he gets too tightly wound, because that's one of the things that I think was a problem for him in the postseason last year. Now, when the playoffs begin, in theory, there's less pressure and less expectation. I don't know if that'll affect JJ, but this process of getting there, I think, does have the potential to kind of push him back into a place that's less constructive.
I don't know if he's going to feel any less pressure. I don't mean that from a job security perspective or anything like that. He has an extension. I have heard not even a whisper that Mark Walter and the new ownership group is unhappy with him in any way. And you're talking about a guy who 2 years into his career has 2 50-win seasons under his belt. He's going to have obvious disadvantages heading into this season with Luka and Austin not there at minimum to start the series, if not the entire time. But I think JJ is just not wired to see that context as containing any less pressure, because I just think he is going to inherently be driven towards feeling like we should win, and it is my job to figure out a way to win. What I think really matters is how you process the pressure that I think JJ will feel, whether you think he should or shouldn't, whether it's external, internal, both. Do you process this? Do you process this in ways that feel constructive and that turn into approaches that, whether they work or not, they make sense? As opposed to, say, the example of 5 guys playing the second half of Game 4. It's so extreme that even if it worked, what we talked about, and one of the reasons I hated it from a process standpoint, was even if it works, you've created further problems for the rest of a theoretically extended series because of the messaging that was put out there. If JJ can avoid temperamental composure type situations and reactions, then I think that in and of itself could constitute growth, because the X's and O's are going to require some high-level creativity from JJ and his staff. But the reality is you are still fighting this battle with...
You can't X and O your way.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You are fighting this
right?
battle with one hand tied behind your back. Right. It's extremely difficult to scheme your way out of this. So I don't think it's fair to judge JJ for not being able to do that.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see the temperamental stuff. Like, I wish we could see what we were hoping to see, because it would have been nice to have that clean comparison point. It would have been nice to have the clean comparison point with Austin, and obviously, I mean, all of this, everything about but what the Lakers are going to have to find. And this is true of JJ, and it's true of everyone, really, especially guys that they think might be back next year, is they have to find ways to get value from this. Maybe it includes a bit of a miracle, maybe it doesn't, probably won't. I don't know. But
I think if you just judge it on the merits of the context, how JJ approached the context, there's value.
Oh, sure. I mean, not just with JJ, but with everything that they're doing in the playoffs, and like trying to figure out how this these next 3 games, and hopefully more than a handful of games to come, can be the kind of thing that inform the sorts of decisions that they have to make this offseason. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, the Lakers need to get a win if they do want to hold, even if JJ Redick doesn't care about the number 4 seed. I do. So if they want to hold on to it, they need to win Thursday night in San Francisco against Golden State. We'll, of course, be back after that game to break it all down. Locked On Lakers on YouTube. So we're going to hang out with over 38,000 subscribers, and we'll see everyone after the game.